and welcome to my channel. Today's video is going to be a card design I made when my sister Linda was visiting me this summer, and it's very simple and easy to recreate with whatever materials you had yourself. It'll be featuring a little bit of watercoloring technique using distress oxide inks, but you could also use this with regular distress inks or actually any watercolor that you had. I'm also going to be doing some tone-on-tone embossing using clear embossing powder and a little bit of sparkly action with some glitter tape. The materials were really simple and it went together really quick. This card design would be great for mass producing. You could change the sentiments that you're using to say something else you didn't have to say, a birthday card. This stamp that I'm using here is an interesting stamp which I'll show you as I go. Let me clear these things away and show you the materials that I used to create this card, and then we'll jump right into the methods that I used. As I mentioned, this is going to do two cards at once. So the materials, the papers that I'm showing you is for two cards. So I have two card bases, cut 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And this card design used blue, but this is going to be peach. Two black panels cut 5 1/4 by 4. Two white panels also cut 5 1/4 by 4. And two white panels which is cut 5 by 3 3/4. I also have a black strip which is cut 5 by 2. I have Bristol smooth watercolor paper which is cut 5 by 3 1/2. Okay, let's set this aside. I'm going to be using Versamark watermark stamp pad and Versafine Onyx black. The distress oxide inks I'm going to be using is Wilted Violet, Spice Marmalade, and Picked Raspberry. This card design used Salty Ocean, Broken China, and also Wilted Violet. So this is a different grouping of colors. I'm also going to be using Black Soot distress ink, but you could use any black for this little bit. I'm not going to use that much of it. I'm using a stamp from this Stampin Up Sincere Salutations stamp set. This one says Birthday Wishes. I'll be using some rhinestones, some gold glitter tape, an EK Success butterfly punch, clear embossing powder. So of course I'm also going to need my embossing buddy, which is escaped my attention. Here it is. I'm also going to be using some shimmer spray. This is just plain water which I have put white perfect pearls in it and shook it up in a mister. And I also need a mister for a little bit of water for the paint, and I have a brush and water ready to go. I'm going to be using a very small finger dauber, and let's see, I'm trying to quickly look. Oh, and let me show you this little thing. Jackie made this. This is just plain white cardstock which she has laminated, and I can use this for watercoloring, and I just put the inks that I need on it, add a little water, and then just wipe it off with the tissue at the end. It's really helpful. I'll maybe do a little short video to show you how to make that, but it's pretty self-explanatory. Okay, I'm also going to be using the Misty Creative Corners because I'm going to be using the Misty to do this. You don't need this, but I wanted to show you how to use this if you were thinking about buying this. This is a helper tool for the tool, the Misty tool. Alright, I think that's everything. If I forgot something, I will mention it as the video goes on. Okay, let me clear these things away and start right in with the techniques. The first step, I have a clipboard which I have put the watercolor paper down using plain old painter's tape. So I'm taking the painter's tape and putting it on my clothes and rubbing on it a little bit to make it not be so sticky, so I don't want to take a chance of tearing my paper. So now that I have the sticky off of it, I'm just going to lay it right along the edge and press down a little bit of seam, but not too hard because I don't want to not be able to get my paper up at the end of this. This will keep it from buckling and hold it flat while I'm working on it. So bring in my water here and the inks. I'm going to have to move this out the way because I want to have a little bit extra room to work with, because I want you to be able to see the palette. Okay, so I'm just taking it and put a little bit of the ink right on the palette. This is more than I need. Okay. Now, I'm going to just take and put a little bit of water across the entire surface of the watercolor paper. This will be wet on wet technique. If you didn't have to wet the paper, you could just go wet to dry, but that's not the look that I want to go with. And the looks is definitely different if you do that. So you just put a little bit of water. I took the water from the cup and just drop the color in wherever you want it. And since my paper is already wet, you can see some blending already happening as the colors are just moving all over the place. So this is pretty self-explanatory. I don't really need to talk through this. So I'm going to speed this up and let some of my brother's wonderful music play to entertain you while I do this. So I'm not going to clear this off because I need these colors a little bit later in what I'm doing. So I'm going to bring in my mister bottle and just spritz this all over lightly with water. A clean paper towel, and lay it in and press it. Don't move the paper, I'm just sopping up the water. And then lift it up, and you see the water triggers the distress ink and you get the little splotchy effect. Now I'm going to take my shimmer spray and go all over, and this adds a bit of a shine which doesn't show up on camera, but it's really shiny. So I'm going to dry this off real quick, and once it's dry I'm going to take off the tape and then we'll move to the next step. Now I'm carefully pulling back the tape. And where the tape was, you get a little bit of a white border, but that's all right. For what I'm doing, it's not going to show. But if you wanted that white border to be there, then just, for example, if you were doing something else, be sure that you add the tape evenly all around so you have an even border. Okay, and there is my finished watercolor panel. Okay. Now I'm bringing in my paper trimmer, and I'm going to cut this in half, which of course is 2 1/2. And now I'm bringing in the two white panels and putting them here, and where did my stamp get away from me? And I'm going to stamp the sentiment in the lower right hand corner. Straight down and straight up. Okay. Now at this point I want to get my punch and bring it in, and I'm going to stuck. Whew. Okay, it was stuck. I'm going to punch in from the corner and get a butterfly. I think that's about where I want it. Okay, I'll set this aside to keep it safe. Now this is why I didn't want to give up the colors. So I'm going to actually do this on here because I don't want to mess this up. So I'm just going to drag the colors that I have left on the palette and go all over the butterfly, just willy-nilly. Now I'm going to bring in my Misty tool and my Misty corner, and we're going to go to the next step. So I need my black, the small black strip, and I'm going to use the Misty corner, because when you are using the Misty tool, the Misty tool works by being able to put the paper in the corner of the Misty, and that allows you to hold it in the same place every time, and you can just get multiple stamps. But because this stamp, this color wheel, stamping wheel, is longer than I want it to be, because it has the 3 holes, well, 4 holes, that you attach it to the wheel mechanism and roll it over your paper. I've never used this that way. I didn't care for that, but I did like the stamp design. So because I want to clear this little 4 hole area, I'm going to use my corner of my Misty and get the paper up a little bit. So I don't know if you can see it. So now the actual stamping starts right where the paper edge is and the 4 holes hangs over. But because I don't want this to stamp on my corner tool, I'm going to pull this away. Okay, now I'm going to ink this up with my Versamark. Oh, I almost forgot something. This is kind of important when you're embossing, so I have to go all over the whole surface with my embossing buddy so that I don't have any fingerprints or static points, and the embossing powder will only stick where I want it to stick. So I should have done that first, so now I've got to do this again real quick. There we go. Line it up. Give it a little bit more inking and close it up. It's a little bit off, so let's move it. There, almost. There. And press it really good. And I know from this stamp that I've used before that it tends not to want to transfer the ink very well, so I'm going to give it a lot of good pressing because I really want all of the words to transfer. Okay. Here's hoping. Now I'll move this out the way. and drop this into my clear ink, my clear embossing powder, and you should see the letters appear there. Let's see how much good coverage I got. Especially around the middle. Oh, I think I did pretty good. Okay, now I'm going to flick off the extra. Good job. Now bring in my heat tool, which is still hot from the other thing, so this should go pretty quick. Okay. Now let this dry for just a moment and put all that stuff away. Now I need the Misty tool again and the final two panels. So I'm going to use this on the inside. Oh, that's interesting. So I'll put this in the corner. I don't need the corner for this, I don't think. Did I? Yes, I did. And I think I might have to move the stamp because I want this to be along the bottom of the stamp. No, that's good. Okay. Now this one I'm going to hold it down with the magnet because this is not going to move. And then it promptly moves. Okay, I'm using this stamping with my Versamark, Versafine Onyx Black. And as before, I want to be sure that I get a good transfer of ink. Give it a good press. But since my magnet is holding this down, if I don't get a good transfer, I can just re-ink it, and I sure didn't. This stamp is just so large. Oh my goodness, what I did. It's so large that it has a lot of surface area that needs to get on there. Still missed it there. What's more pressing? Okay, let me get that up real quick before it stains. Now you know you're watching this live, people. Mistakes are happening real time. Okay, set this aside. Bring in the other. I think I need this again, didn't I? Yep. I'm concerned about this extra on here, so I'm going to wipe that off because I don't want that to transfer. And now for the second one. Okay, the rest is just going to be simple putting the card together. So I'm going to clean this stamp up real quick and then just let the video run, and you can listen to the wonderful music that my brother provides and enjoy. It looked like I was having a little trouble, but I figured it out. When you put the watercolor panel here, you want to make sure that you put it with the cut side facing down because it's very thin here. And if you did it the other way, you may inadvertently show the white part where you had the tape covered up. So I figured that out at the end. So these are the finished cards. I also did another one in green and purple and gray, and I like how that came out too. As I said, this card design can be used in whatever punches you had, whatever watercolor media you have, that's fine, and whatever sentiment stamps that you want to do. If you wanted to make a get well card or a sympathy card or whatever, it goes together really easily and very quick. I'd also like to mention that for whoever sends me a comment on either my Facebook channel or my YouTube channel, you can have a chance to win this entire set of cards. Not just one, not just two, all 4 cards. So please leave a comment down below, and of course, in order to win, I have to have your address, so you have to be willing to share it with me. Don't put your address on this video or on my Facebook. Send me a private message and we can work it out. I'd also like to thank my brother David for the music that he provides for my channel. I hope you're enjoying it. And I would like to thank everyone for the comments and the subscribers. Please pass the word that I'm making videos. I'm trying to get my numbers up as much as I can, and I'd like to say a special thank you to everyone who leaves comments for me on my videos. It helps me make improvements in what I'm doing, and it lets me know that I should keep going and I'm not totally wasting your time and mine. But it's fun to me, and I hope it's fun to you to get into scrapbooking and card making. It's really a rewarding hobby, and you can really bring out the creativity bug in all of us. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.